Hi guys. Good afternoon. We are sorry for quite of a delay. There was a technical issue with the connection, but we are happy we are back. Great. We are going to go ahead. Welcome to all these people I'm seeing online who have managed to attend. Make sure you utilize what we're having as the Q&A section to ask your question as well as all right. Great. So our agenda of today will be just to help you to be able to identify problems so that you are able to start your project as soon as possible. So in project, as you will be doing your project, definitely you look at how do we start how do we come up with a problem, and how do we define the problem, and probably once you define a problem, how do you generate the solutions or recommendation around it. How do you generate that? Probably generating recommendation. Once you have identified a problem, we expect that you'll be able to generate recommendations. And then we are also looking at a situation where that once you look at that recommendations or some of the solutions, a lot of ideas, we need to look at those ideas, conduct analysis on those ideas you are coming up with. Probably you have identified a problem and therefore you are generating recommendations or solutions around it. Now think about looking at, analyzing, asking questions about those particular things, especially the solutions that you've come up with. Correct. George says it's okay from Nyamira. Great. Now, the last thing you should be able to do is to come up with that one solution, because the solutions cannot be as many as you think they are. So you just come up with a solution. That is what you need to do. The solution, as I've said, find the solution to your problem. And I think let us go straight. Remember, problem. When you talk about a problem, defining a problem it's about what do you want to really solve. Your project, don't jump into the project straight away. Think about that particular thing that you really wish to solve. And that thing can be, that is what we're talking about, and then state it. That problem you want to solve, can you be able to state it? And maybe some of these things may look so complicated at the moment, but when you do them, you'll understand. Remember, when you want to talk about the problem, you are looking at a very, very small part, and then you're looking at the end, what will happen in future. For example, you're starting at this particular in a big way, but the goal, what is your goal when you people are starting the project? One question we'll ask you, especially during the judging of those items you're working on, is what is your goal? Because we know that when you're starting a project, a problem tells you where you're starting. When you're making you're really talking about the problem, think about where are you starting, and at the end of the day, what is the success of your project? What are you really coming up with as a solution? These are some of the things I want you to look as we continue the discussion. You may not understand it now, but we will keep on taking you through and through. So whatever thing we are calling like problem statement, then it definitely needs to outline goals. What are your goals? What are you especially thinking? What do you want to sort out? At the end of the day, what is it? For instance, you have identified that there's a problem in the society, in the community. Maybe girls are being attacked, or students are being attacked on their way back home in the evening. What can you do about it? What is actually the problem? And what can you be able to think about? What are some of the solutions that you want to look around? So that is like a problem. So you look at the goal, that then at the end of our problem, we want to see a reduction in the number of young people being attacked, or students being attacked, or incidents of security should be reduced, if not eliminated. That is your goal. That's not the solution yet, but that is the goal you are thinking about. And then think about the assumptions that are there. What are people assuming? Maybe you are assuming that people who are committing these crimes and attacking students on their way back home, they are thugs, they are thieves, they are drunkards. they are dropouts, they are political people. You know, those assumptions around it, maybe they are witches or witchcraft. This is the thing. What are the assumptions around? Because these assumptions are the ones that we are going to get. Or they are untouchable. You can't get them. They are being protected. You know, there are all assumptions around problems that we have in our communities. Think about the boundaries. How far are we going to solve this problem? Are we going to look at the students? How are we going? Where are we going to get more information? Are we going to talk with the police department, or are we going to talk with the chief in the area? Who else do we want to involve in this particular situation? So maybe it is good to look at that. Then define the success. At the end of the day, what are you looking at? What will really happen once the story has succeeded outside there? Think about establishing timeline. When do we want this project to end? Remember, you don't have time. It's almost like 30 minutes per week for club work. But then the question is, for how long will you need? You need, therefore, this one alone will make sure that I think you'll be guided that probably you only have up to June to start, probably you must have a project. But from next week, we'll be assisting you as you come up with your project, little by little, to make sure we also help you in managing the time. Time will be also another thing. Think about also the stakeholders in that project. If you're talking about, for example, the project I've talked about, the one for the insecurity of students as they go back home in the evening, or is it about the drugs? How do we detect drug use in the school? Or is it about bullying? Or is it about lack of food in the society? While there are other people who have abundance of food, how do you connect those people who have food and those who don't have food? Or maybe there's a lot of food being thrown away in the kitchen. You have identified that as a problem, yet people in the community are sleeping without food. So these are your stakeholders. Maybe the kitchen staff is the stakeholder. Maybe the cooks are the stakeholders. The administration is the stakeholders. The community members are the stakeholders. So you have to identify whom are you going to work with, whom are you really going to create the solution, who are going to be impacted with your solution. It's very important you identify them, and if possible, work with them. Collaborate. Let them give you their story. That one will really help you come up with the right solutions that can be able to be used to support them. Then determine the constraint. What are some of the challenges you're going to face? Maybe it's in terms of the equipment you're going to use and stuff like that. Charles demo my younger voice, welcome. Great. If you have questions, kindly continue asking, and we are going to be able to answer them shortly. Now, let me just take you through some aspects of what can guide you to come up with a problem. Probably you may look at this. If you use it as an approach to help you identify problems that you're going to solve, good enough. But again, we also encourage you to identify the problem and then come back, reverse engineer, come back and look at this particular chart and see the problem we are solving, where does this fall under? Because this table will be used by the judges to judge your project. That what one of the sustainable development goals you are really solving, which one is it? Is your project under zero hunger? Yes, for example, we have noticed that there's a lot of food being wasted in the school. How can you connect that food with the people who don't have the community, so that whenever there is food which is left, you can probably create an app or whatever where people can just log in and text, and then the food is taken to them, so that the food is not wasted or thrown or just dumped or maybe something like that. So you will be definitely targeting a sustainable goal number 2. So we are saying use it to give you reference in terms of which problem are you solving. Again, it is good to use it because when your project targets one of these, then you are not going to have an impact that will be seen locally. It will be like you're really joining part of the world in solving some problems. And remember, this is what the judges are going to use, and this is also key in our program and GESCI's program focusing majorly on sustainable development goals. Great. I think getting a problem, you really need to get these 5 steps, 5 simple steps. First of all, what's the goal or your objective? What do you really want to solve? Then gather some data. Here you don't really, we are not forcing you to go straight and really maybe do calculation, but the data will be just probably get more information about the problem, find out the root cause of the problem, and then design your problem. Now you are able to define it completely, that this is the problem we are going to solve. And then think about now the idea of the solution that you're going to come up with. Then that idea definitely is going to help you. In most cases, you come up with almost 100 ideas. Then you need to now sit down and select one good solution, and then work on that as you approach it. The solution is the answer, but then the goal is that objective we are talking about, which is the result of that solution. At the end of the day, this is what we are coming up with. But then, because students are being attacked when they go back home late in the evening, now, at the end of the day, more or few students will be attacked, or no student will be attacked, or the whole thing will change into something else. Students will be able to arrive home safely without being attacked on their way back home. Something like that. Or maybe some students are very bad, they disappear on their way, they go to other corners. What do you do to help trace them and track them? So the goal is the end result of your solution. Think about that and really work on that. So ultimately we are saying the goal is what you are solving the problem for, and not really necessarily. So let me go straight to the problem design. Sometimes it's very hard to find that particular problem, or sometimes you may be thinking you are solving a problem, yet you are not actually solving the problem. You are just solving some symptoms of the problem, and therefore it's very important that you are able to design the problem. To actually identify that problem is another thing. Second, to design a solution for it can only depend on how you are able to define the problem. What is really the actual problem? Can you get the cause of the problem? And I have ways of getting the ideas before you really get the ideas and selecting, as we've said. It is very important that you do some little bit of critical thinking around that problem. And I will share with you 2 tools on how to identify the problem actually. So, as much as we are encouraging you to work with different departments, for example, work with the different clubs, the different subject teachers, to give you more information, especially when you are looking at a problem, find out from them, or probably ask questions. When you're coming up with solutions, also, you need to talk to various people around. Remember, we talked about the stakeholders. Although in most cases it is dangerous, sometimes because stakeholders can be so many, and the more the stakeholders, the more the complex the situation is. You may not have time, so you always be very careful so that you are not caught in a situation where you are probably trying to solve so many problems at one time. So, and then remember, when you're coming up with solutions or when you're dealing with problems, you can't solve all the problems. Learn to leave other problems so that you only focus on the problem you can be able to do, because time is not on your side. Great. I want to give you, so we have said, once you have identified a problem, it is very necessary that you apply some critical thinking to identify the cause of that problem, and even look at the consequences of your solution. It is very important to look at those 2 things, that what are the causes of your problem and what are the consequences of the solution you're really coming up with. And that one brings me to that aspect of the causes. How do we identify causes? You may be given a very good example of students are being attacked on their way back home. The question is, probably that's a symptom of so many other things taking place in the life of everybody in the school. What is really the problem? The problem, is it a problem that the students are being attacked, or what is the cause of the reason as to why the students are being attacked on their way back home? Could it be? So you may be thinking you're solving the problem, yet you have not yet checked at the causes. Can you make sure you get to the root cause? And this is how we usually get the root cause. If we employ a style called 5 whys. You ask the 5 whys to understand the cause. For example, I've given you a very good method, a good example of a problem that students are being attacked on their way back to school, back home in the evening. You can ask the questions of why. Then it's like, why are students being attacked as they are headed to school? Then the answer will be, because they are going late, they are leaving school late. Then another why will be, why are they leaving school late? Because teachers are giving them a lot of work that makes them stay in school for a long time. Why are teachers giving them a lot of work? Because teachers need to finish up with the content. So that why will give you. So why are teachers supposed to have a lot of content? Because the demand of the syllabus or the administration demands that they complete the syllabus in good time. So there is a lot of content that they need to give to students. So you see, initially we started with the problem of students being attacked on their way back to school. But now we are at another level. We've realized that the problem of being attacked cannot be solved, can easily be solved by the cause. The root cause is that the teachers are the ones making them stay over. And probably the teachers are not even the problem. The problem is with the content. Now, where do we come in now, come up with a solution? Then we now say, okay, if the content is the problem, then let us design an app or a website where all this content can be put online. Be it new exercises. We just take all content and put them online on behalf of the teachers, so that students are able to access a lot of content, so that the teachers' work is just to discuss after the students have already done something. And then you come up probably with a flipped way of doing things. Maybe you just flip the classroom so that students are given all the work and the content in good time. You have just created maybe an app or a mobile application or a website and put all the content there so that students are able to access it. And therefore the teachers will not have to give a lot of work. And then finally you'll find students now will have to go home early so they will not be attacked. You see, you have already solved your problem, the root cause of the problem, and you may end up solving a problem while creating other problems, either creating a problem to you or to other people around you. For example, maybe you may decide that you want to go up and down to report to the police the suspect. You want to create a reporting system where the police can get the names of the suspect. You see, people can abuse the system. Somebody can end up writing the name of somebody who is not even a criminal. If we quarrel with you, I just put your name to the police. And then this one you have created again another problem in the community. And another problem is creating another problem. So you may not be able to solve the problem as much as you want to solve it. Maybe that is about deciding to look at the problem. And then the good thing about asking about the why is, of course, as we have said, you are able to really also discover other new symptoms that you can even be able to even use for your work. I'll put Sylvia along so that she answers one question, then we'll take you to the next level of probably now having the idea ready and coming up with the solution for the project. Yes.
Hello, I'm Sylvia from iEARN. So someone was asking, once I have identified a problem, is it a must I use Scratch or is it open? It is open as long as you've identified your problem and you've also designed a way that you want to solve that problem. For example, if you want to come up with a website to be able to solve that problem, it is not a must to use Scratch. You can use maybe HTML and CSS. For example, when you coding the Arduinos, or your project involves a robot, and you have another language that you can use, or another programming platform you can use or you're comfortable using, please feel free to use it to be able to solve your problem. So it is not a must to stick to Scratch only. Then someone else was asking if they can be able to create a game. Yes, Judy from Seleto Masai Girls. Judy Seleto from Masai Girls, Narok. Can one make a game using coding? Yes, you can create a game you can code a game, you create a game, as long as that game is really solving a problem, or it's really doing something, it's really solving a problem. What is the game really going to do?
Just to add on that, yes, a game solving a problem, you may be asking, how can a game solve a problem? A game can even really highlight a problem. For example, if you create a game of, for example, a girl who wants to go to the university, so the girl becomes the main character, and then along the way there are so many hurdles. Probably there is early pregnancy, there is peer influence, there is probably issues to do with personal health, poverty, parental influence, and probably government policies. There are many things that come along the line, the challenges of a girl who wants to get to the university. So if you create a game where a main character is a girl, and there are so many obstacles along the line, and you ensure it's a story. Remember, all games are stories. They are either putting something in you. So as the girls or the players are able to go through the game, either they're asking themselves, am I helping a girl to reach somewhere, or am I helping myself? Am I really managing? So the more they are winning, the more they are really getting they're really getting the information about how to support a girl child to be able to reach, or a boy child to be able to get to their dream. Because even boys also have their own issues. Maybe what are some of the challenges facing boys? Why are boys not being successful? Probably you're putting all that. Maybe in the game, the boy is trying to run away from so many challenges. Probably from problems of the societal attitude that a boy is stronger than the girl. Probably they are being neglected by society. All these are problems that can be communicated comfortably inside a game. And by the end of the time, you're solving a problem. Yes, even a game can solve a problem. They usually, all the games we play, they all depict some sort of a problem. I think maybe that is good. I just go on briefly, then we come back to the question. I think it is important we address most of your questions. So we are saying again, and I want you to look at it, that it is very important that you really get the root cause. In all those examples you have given, especially on creating a game, you must be actually looking at what exactly are we really solving. Because if you open up your problem to be so huge, so broad, definitely you are asking for trouble. Because time you will not have that time. Maybe the resources will not be there. You'll be looking for resources that maybe the school cannot afford, or probably the school does not have it, or probably there is nothing around in your space that you can be able. Yes, somebody is asking. Yes, keep typing your questions here so that we are able to answer them. But remember, the first thing you need to do, identify the problem, then come up with a solution to the problem. So you must make sure you are having the same problem. Remember, thinking backwards is very important when you are discovering the problems. And then thinking forward is also very important because you're also looking at the consequences of the problem. And then thinking again at the root cause is very important because you are also going to be able to get a particular specific thing that you are going to work on. Thank you, Yvonne Nyambura from Masai Girls. Right. Now, in brief, what is the big problem? And then what are the small issues around that problem that can be solved? I think we're just confirming about how to identify the problem. But remember, be encouraged, because we know they say the path of 1,000 miles begins with one step. Just start from somewhere. As you're starting from somewhere, it is important that you think forward and then think backward about the consequences and get the root cause. It's very important that you get the root cause. And thinking forward is one thing again. One other tool I want to share with you called the 7 so whats. So the 7 so what tool is a tool that helps in thinking. It's a critical thinking tool used to look at the consequences of the action that you're going to do. For instance, if you come up with an app that's going to help all the content, hold all the content of the school, so what? What will happen? Why? What could that one do? Then you'll be saying that now students and teachers will be able to assess the content without necessarily having them probably on the exercise or manually. Then like, so what if they access the content and not have them manually? And then you answer like, therefore the teachers will have easy time teaching, while the student will not spend a lot of time in school. So what if the students don't spend a lot of time in school? If they don't spend a lot of time in school, it means they'll just go back home earlier than the normal time when they are being released. So what if they go home earlier than what will that one do? Then like, if they go to school early, they will escape being attacked by these people who attack probably majorly between 6 and 7. Because probably you have done your research and realized, getting the right data has shown you that the attack happened between maybe 6 to 8 and not earlier than 6. So if students are released before 6, then they are safe to go home. And that's now you've already, so it's very easy to look at the consequences of your solution, because you've already said, okay, we are going to create an app to hold all the content, so that probably the teachers are saying, this is the root cause of the problem of students being attacked on their way back home. The root cause is to ensure that the teaching material is now put inside one particular small space, or even maybe a mobile application. And students, because most of the day scholars have the phone, they will install. We just install it locally. We don't need to put it on the Google App Store, because we don't want them to access internet. It's an offline solution. You create it as a mobile app, you put it inside the phone, and students go with it home, and they start, they just start revising and revising and revising. So we are asking, so what if the content is put on a mobile phone? Like, students will not have to be in school, and the teachers will have easy time, so that they will only be revising, and students will have all the content by themselves. So what if they have the content by themselves? It means they will have to leave early, because it's the content that has been delaying them. So what? So you keep asking those so what until you really arrive at the consequence of your solution. And that one is very important, because that's when you know that you are really, really solving the problem and you're not just guessing. So it's very important. I've shared with you 2 tools that I want you to make sure you master and you use them during this ideation stage. The why, the 5 whys, and the 7 so what question. The 5 whys you apply to the problem you are looking at, and the 7 so what you apply to the solutions that you have already designed, or you have settled on the project you want to do, that this is the project you want to do. So ask the so what question and the why question, and you'll be able to get yourself at home. I think maybe those are the most important things, and of course, I'm just repeating. Define the problem, generate recommendation. What are some of the recommendations? What are the possible solutions around that problem? Analyze those solutions by what I've told you, either with the 5 whys or the 7 so what questions. Once you do that, finally, you will be able to find that solution. And that is what I want you to look at. If there is anybody with a question, the rest are probably focusing your effort on the impact, just because there is no time. And also you have to look at the other solutions, the other problems around. There are so many skills we can be able to talk about, but all in all, I think the idea we have already summarized that you need today. Then you need to avoid the following mistakes. As you are coming up with your solutions or developing your project from the scratch, kindly avoid the following mistakes. Mistake number 1, jumping to answers too quickly. Mistake number 2, of course, jumping to answers too quickly, I think we have already said. Define the problem, understand the questions behind the question, ask focusing questions, and as I've said, you must understand the cause and the consequences of your solution, the causality. And then number 2, the best mistake is limiting yourself. You need to expand so that you look at the problem in a bigger space. Because, for example, the problem we have given of students being attacked, kindly don't look at it in terms of just going to the police straight away. Problem number 3 is focusing on the unimportance. That one you'll use why to be able to take you so that you avoid focusing on the unimportant. Then you need to look at the data around it. Ensure you get the right data. If you don't have the right data, you may not end up with the right space. And then think about the consequences. And finally, we are saying identify a specific problem. I keep repeating this because it's very important. Break the big problem into smaller solvable problems, and then define the problem. It's very important. Those are the things I'm trying to look around. And the so what, I think I've talked about all those. And we want everybody in the team. You are 20 plus the teachers. Can you work together, find a way of ensuring that everybody participates in the critical thinking exercise? One of asking the 5 whys, and then asking the so what question. Great. So we are there. So can we answer questions? And questions, there are several questions that have come. Okay, Sylvia will take the next question. We are here with Sylvia.
Okay, so we have Mora who's asking, other than putting road signs and bumps on the road, what other things can be done to stop and prevent road accidents? So as David had explained earlier, please look at your main problem. If you're trying to control road accidents, ask the 5 whys, find out the main reason why people are having accidents, and then from there, come up with a solution now. If people are causing accidents maybe because of drinking and driving, you can maybe decide to work on that specific reason why people are causing accidents. Because we know there's so many reasons why accidents happen, and we cannot maybe be able to prevent all of them at the same time. So list all the problems and identify one that you want to solve. Be specific when you're coming up with solutions. That's what I would advise Mora. And then someone, Karen?
And maybe from Mora, we can say that it is actually, that is what we have been told. Can you go back and find out that problem again? The problem of traffic is so broad, it's so huge, it is big, it's a government project. You cannot solve it just in the face value. So you need to ask so many why, and then be exact. Where do you want to solve it at? Probably at the village. What is really happening at the village? Maybe the accident here is involving boda or bicycle or not. Are you really going to solve a problem in Lamu and yet you are in probably Nyamira? Where is the lady from? Mora. Probably you are working from Narok and you want to Nyamira and you want to solve accident in a different location. Then that one will be very hard for you because you don't have the data of that place. But you have a lot of data around in your community, and it will even be bigger because maybe the problem is with the boda people. And if it's the boda people, do you want to put bumps for them? Probably bumps may even cause more problems because there are those boda people who will come very fast carrying 3 people on them, and then all of a sudden they jump on the bump and they get again more accidents. So think, first of all, kindly interrogate your problem. Make sure you are solving the problem so that you are not causing other problems, but you are really solving that problem.
Okay, then we have Karen He's asking, how can a person come up with animation from a live video? Okay, that's an interesting question. So what I would advise, if you want to create an animation, you need to know the real story behind that animation. If, for example, you're saying from a live video, does that mean you already have a movie you want to animate? You need to answer some of those questions. And then if you have a movie that you want to animate, you need to get the whole storyline of that movie so that you're able to create your characters for your animation and be able to come up with the animation. So it's possible for you to animate a video or a movie. Just look at the main details you need. You need the whole storyline. Ask yourself those why questions. And why do you need to animate someone's video? Maybe you can animate your own story. Come up with your own storyline and be able to animate it. So please ask those why questions and make sure you have every detail that you need for you to be able to come up with the animation. But it's very possible for you to animate. Ombui was asking, what do I need to make a remote that controls electricity? That's a good question. And as I've answered you, but maybe I can say it again. You need to identify the exact objectives or the exact items or things that you want your remote to be able to do. If you want it to just switch on and off, you need to be sure that you only need it to do that. So that once you've identified all the objectives of your switch, or of your remote, what you want exactly your remote to be able to control, list all of them down, then maybe you can share with us the abstract so that you're able to know the specific things you want your remote to do so that you can advise on them. If it's sensors, which sensors you need. If it is a remote, what kind of a remote do you need? So please look at those specific details that you need your remote to be able to do, share with us, and then we can advise more on what specific items you need in your remote.
Okay, and broadly, I think, of course, we are talking about sharing, and remember, it's the problem. What do you want to do with the electricity? Why electricity? What has happened with electricity? Why do you just want to get something to turn it off and on? Of course, we have amazing, and that's where Arduino, which we have talked about, is coming in. And the Arduino, inside the Arduino kit, you'll find another tool, especially for doing that. That is really a gate sort of. But how do you even remote control it? You can even send an SMS and the lights turn off. You don't need even to get remote control only. You just send an SMS and the lights turn off and on. But what will you be doing around that? Why will you be doing that in the first place? What do you want to control and stuff like that? Those are some of the questions you need to ask yourself when you're doing that. So first, think about the problem. And then I'm saying we are going to help you. How do we access programming platform for practice? We are here. We'll give you so many platforms, so many links to so many platforms. And then we are also going to do a face-to-face or rather a meeting with particular school, with each and every individual school. You tell us when you're available. You can even put yourself in groups and then we will teach you. We are here even over the holiday, even over weekends, and we are able to help you as long as you get the link. Abigail, can a person create and remove virus using coding and how? Viruses are created with coding because they are software, so they are actually created with codes, and therefore it is possible to remove them because as a coder you can decode them. Yes. How? You need to learn. We'll teach you if you want to learn. But again, remember, problem. If you are not solving any problem, you will not survive. You can know a lot of codes, and if you don't use it to solve a problem, you will rot and just disappear in the village. Nobody will ever understand that you ever existed. There are so many people walking around with big names of coding. I know how to program. I know Python. I know Java. If you don't know how to solve a problem, you are very, very useless. I'm sorry to use it, is so hard. Because you are not helping us with the knowledge. Remember, identify problem, solve problem. Coding is about solving problem. Using and writing code to solve any problem. And all problems can be solved. A lot of problems can be solved with coding. Yvonne, Nyambura Masai Girls, Narok asked, how can one set up an internet communication at a given place? Which problem again are you solving with the internet communication? That's why today we wanted you to know, let us look at this as being problem-based project. It is not just solving problems, it's about problems. We'll have 5 more minutes because we started a bit late, probably just to answer questions, if you have anything, but we'll be putting the questions. So kindly, all your questions are good, but I want you to rethink again. Stop getting excited at what you look at probably in the movies. You see people hacking. I want to be a hacker. The question would be, what do you really want to solve? Because everybody was solving a problem. And whenever you look at it from problem side, you have a problem, you see a question you want to address?
Yeah, so Florence is asking, can I develop a game using animation or create a project on virus? Yes, all these things you're asking are very possible. But as David is saying, that game you're going to create, what problem is it going to solve? Or how is it going to help the society? Don't just create something for the excitement part of it, because at the end of the day, you need to make an impact. You need to solve a problem or change a situation in your society or in Kenya. Just think more about that game. Think more about that virus. How is it going to help Kenyans? How is it going to help your community? How is it going to help your school? What problem will it solve? So think more about that virus, think more about that game, and how it's going to help you.
Is it going to give you money?
Yes. If you come up with good projects, like some are asking, how can Code Club help you? If you come up with a virus and it's going to solve a problem maybe in your society, you never know, that could be the next Facebook in Kenya. So just think more about what you want to create. If it's a game, it could be the next big Candy Crush, or it could be the next big game that everybody will be playing in their phones. So just think about your game more and what the impact you really want it to bring to people. Then you'll be able to do the project. And then as David had said, please contact us directly. You can even request for a meeting as a school, and we organize that so that we're able to address those specific needs that you as a school or as students you have in your club. So don't just wait for the webinars to be set. You can also organize yourself as a school, organize something, write to us a request, we organize a meeting and we do it. And we're able to solve your specific club issues. Thank you.
And this can be any time, even evening, at preps time, weekend, anytime you think you can get time, so that you also don't interfere with the programs of the school, because you can get up into, you don't need to get into trouble. We also want you to learn and be able to go on with the things. I've put 2 questions. Can you see them? Because I want to see if at all you've seen those questions. Those ones have been answered. Then probably, is that question, has it been answered? Once I identify a problem, is it a must I use Scratch or is it open? We said it is very open, but because ours is problem based, we want to see you doing it. I think most of the questions have been asked, and we are soon winding up unless there's any other issue.
The others are challenges because you have to think a lot in a logical way, using the what if and the questions that David is posing. Why? What if I do this? What will happen? What if I add this extra action? What will happen? So there is a lot of thinking that goes into it. You may have to sleep or not sleep, thinking about how to solve a problem or a challenge in your program. I think that's what I wanted to add. So unless we have another hot question, we want to give you time so that also the DCs can wind up in a face-to-face session. This is the first meeting that we have had, and we'll have a series of meetings with all the ITA schools. We will get feedback from the project coordinator. There is something we were working on with iEARN, so that it can be answered. But from our side, allow us to say bye-bye and look forward to having another session with you. I want to think maybe on Saturday, 11 o'clock, kindly organize with the PCs on what your expectations are. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Okay, so guys, we thank you so much for joining us, and we've tried to address most of the questions. The ones that we've said, we'll share some links, especially for the website. We'll get to you directly, and we'd like to end the session. So thank you so much. Bye-bye.